everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Decision Hour. I'm Adam, and with me as always, Patty.
Adam.
What's up?
Woo woo. I'm excited about today's show.
I am super stoked about today's show and the guests that we're going to have on. So, you want to tell them a little bit about what to expect?
Well, you just expect the unexpected on our shows, don't you?
Always. So let's jump right.
Come on.
Well, then what are we waiting for? Let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
Jax, why don't you first off start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Cowboy Jax. I am the CEO and founder of SHF, or Save Homefront. You can check us out at shfveterans.org. Our primary focus and purpose is to educate the 70% of America who says that they do not know how to relate to a veteran. Also to educate our community neighbors, which are the people that support our country that haven't served, and to hold accountable those that have served, which is less than 1% of the population, through creating entertainment projects like with the amazing Paul Sr. and Orange County Choppers. What this allows us the opportunity is that through the conduit of entertainment, where everybody can kind of connect based off of whatever that entertainment is, then from there we can start the conversation of so much more than just thank you for your service.
And what years did you serve?
I served for 4 years. I signed up the summer of my 18th birthday in 97 on through to 2002, I do believe it is.
Nice. Awesome.
Is that 4 years? I got brain damage, so I'm not good at counting. Paul has brain damage too. He just told me.
Oh,
I can't see or hear.
Josh can't see or hear. That's the lead fabricator.
So he does all the designing by hand with his eyes closed.
With the help of the masterful Paul Sr. and Jason, their lead designer. Yeah, that's how they get it done.
Takes a team.
Takes a team, Paul said.
Team effort.
So I have a quick question for you, Jax. So why are you so passionate about military veterans? A lot of our listeners may not know your history.
Oh, wow. Well, to sort of put it in perspective for y'all, 3 years ago around this time, I was homeless. And there was a call that came in. I was living in a room that was a little bit less than the size of a prison cell. And there was a call. Someone was able to get in touch with me and said, hey, do you still have that idea for the veterans organization that you wanted to start? And can you have it together by November? And I was like, I wasn't going to let them know at that time that I was homeless and everything else. So it was like, fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I absolutely will. And from that, I really started to turn my life back around. And even when I was doing counseling sessions with the VA, total of 30 counseling sessions, I ended up becoming a suicide survivor. And so being on the other side of that, being behind the glass doors in the green pajamas and actually seeing what these guys and gals were experiencing, it really opened my perspective that the narrative needed to change. That it wasn't just about thank you for your service, or it wasn't about just having a symbiotic relationship with the military, and that we needed a more defined veteran culture in this country.
So how did you get involved with, or how did the Orange County Choppers get involved with you? How did you guys connect?
Well, a blessing from God, first and foremost, without a doubt, because I have to tell you that when you work with OCC, it's not just about them creating a project for you. Everyone here is about home, and everyone here is truly patriotically driven. I mean, it is unbelievable the level of patriotism that this group has. But essentially what happened is after 2016, when we opened the doors at SHF, the next thing that happened is that we did a music video called Leave a Light On in partnership with some Motown writers from Detroit, Michigan. That music video the next year caught the interest of Dylan King, who's the husband of Amy Duggar King. And a shout out to them. They just have a brand new baby. His name's Dax. He's awesome. But Dylan also worked for the SEMA Group for debuting automobiles out in Las Vegas. he said, I want to do an SHF Jeep. We did a SHF Jeep with them. Santos Lopez, who also is part of the OCC family, saw the Jeep and everything that we were working on there. And then those conversations alluded to getting in touch with OCC and Paul Sr. Then Dayanette and Randy wanted to support an organization that had a great mission and focus to be able to bring community neighbors and veterans together. And the rest, they say, is history.
Mm-hmm. So, Paul, what did you think of this guy when you met him? What did you think of Jax?
Like him now. He forgot through it though.
Yeah, when he introduced me, he introduced my name wrong.
I knew it. I knew it. They said that he didn't hear it, but I was so nervous and I was so wound up that I actually said Paul Jr. instead of Paul Sr. today, and I'm never ever going to live it down.
Jack, I'm surprised you're still standing, Jax, or sitting.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
too.
you're talking to us right now.
I think it's because of the fact that Paul knows how much we appreciate him and how much we want to continue the mission and focus of what OCC is doing. And he generously allowed us to come to his 70th birthday party. And SHF hopes to have an awesome continued relationship with Paul. He's a really good guy.
Away my age.
Yeah.
Now you're really on the bad list.
I'll tell you right now, anyone that is as old, quote unquote, as this dude that looks like this guy, like they have a lot to live up to. I want to look like Paul when I'm his age. Yeah, when I grow up. That's it, when I grow up.
But all in all, it was a good project for everybody here. And again, like I said before, it was a team effort. You know, we're very involved in the military. And, you know, every time that we have the opportunity to do something for the veterans, you know, we're always out there to support. So this particular project was 100th year anniversary, which was big for us, you know. So we had to all step up to the plate here and make this thing, you know, something really special.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we did a great job, and it seemed like you know, everybody that was at the unveil really enjoyed the unveil, and also the bike and the workmanship that was put in it, and the representation.
Mm-hmm. So to our listeners who are listening right now, what would you tell them as far as why the patriotism? Where is that coming from in you?
I guess it's just you know, I guess it's either born in you, but I was in the Merchant Marines when I was 18, delivering ammunition to Vietnam.
Wow.
But you know, we've had an opportunity to make a difference a long time ago, and you know, being a celebrity is just not about, you know, going out and making appearances and making money. It's about giving back. So I think that there's not a organization better to give back to.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well,
Thank
you.
Paul.
Yeah. I can say Jax is just an amazing inspiration to a lot of veterans out there who've been going through a lot of things. He can really relate, and he definitely has a heart to help them. So.
And real quick for all our listeners, if you're listening to this, it means you're already online. Open up another browser, go to shfveterans.org, and also to our surprise today, we have the entire OCC crew, so make sure you go check out that website as well and check out their awesome bikes that they have over there. And if you don't know who they are, then you're living out under a rock and you need to come out from under it, because they've been around for a while. So
if you don't know who OCC is, they're living in a rock. You know, Adam, one of the things that I really have to say about the bike is the fact that this was a bike that really came from the vision of Josh and Paul, because everyone kept asking us about a traditional render, you know, of what the bike was going to look like prior to. And when I talked to Jason, you know, Jason was like, he's their lead designer. He was like, dude, they literally came in here, sketched out a design, and like that was the end of it. Like they built everything from like inside of their mind and their vision. And I also got to say for OCC, what's amazing is that the simplistic elegance of this motorcycle is an example of just like when you get out of the military and you take off the uniform. Just because you don't have this over-the-top, presence in the visual look of you, that doesn't mean that you can't accomplish extraordinary things and be extraordinary. And the simplistic elegance of this bike is a true representation of that. And we're super excited to carry the mantle for the 100th anniversary edition from Orange County Choppers with this special edition motorcycle. I'm just absolutely floored.
Now, when is this going to be available for people to see?
Wow.
Is there a website is it going to be on the website tomorrow? Is this something that's going on TV?
I'd like
How's that
Patrick to
working?
answer that question because he's always the guy busting his ass behind the scenes. And so I'd like to introduce you to the producer and
Fat Pat here.
I can't call him Fat Pat.
Doing shit up all the time.
But what
I'm the guy that messes it all.
but what I can say is that Patrick is also a Marine. I don't hold that against him because I come from the Army side of the house. But it's amazing to see community neighbors and veterans working together for the success of things like this motorcycle, because it shows that our focus is right where it needs to be. So, Patrick, when can they see it on the OCC Plus network?
Yeah, get ready. It's going to be a great episode, this whole build. It'll be a 6-episode series. Everybody will get to watch start to finish, concepting the bike up until the unveil. It usually takes about 6 weeks or so for post-production, so give it about that time, and in the interim, we will have teasers for everybody to watch, pictures, and a lot of fun stuff that'll kind of tease every moment of the build up into the final episode of the unveil.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, one real quick. The other thing that's super cool about this with community neighbors and veterans is Hank Hanrow with Hanrow Studios did hand engraving on the motorcycle. Patrick, who's a Marine veteran, is one of the the lead shot in editing and creating, being a part of the film team. And in addition to that, like it's unbelievable to see the community neighbor aspect, those that haven't served, to come hand in hand together to create this masterful art of machine.
Let's just say it takes a Marine to get it all together.
Yeah, you can edit that part.
I was going to say,
You can totally edit that
I
part.
made a note to send Pat some crayons, so we're good there.
I love Patrick already. My husband served in the Marines and he served in the Army. We fly the Marine Corps flag out front.
Oh God, here we go.
I deal with this every day, Jax, every day. So
Yeah,
And my son, he joined the Marine Corps because he said, Mom, the Army, they don't even blouse their boots.
Patty,
Yeah.
seriously?
all right, that's wonderful for the Marine Corps. Just remember that it was the 101st Airborne Division veteran of the United States Army that was the recipient of the bike today.
One team, one goal.
It's all amazing. You guys are all amazing. Just doing
Yeah.
incredible
Hey,
things.
Navy.
Was the Army that came to his senses and went to the Marines, or the other way around?
So he was in the Marines first, but he was too old to go back into the Army post 9/11. Or to go back into the Marines post 9/11, so he joined the Army. So.
Army can take anybody.
Well, we do joke, and we say, well, he was injured while he was in the Army, so maybe if he was in the Marines.
That's because we have more of a longevity of being able to do amazing things for years and years and years in service.
Something like that.
It's all amazing. It really is. You guys are awesome. I'm noticing, too, if you go to the Orange County Choppers website, they have a podcast, which is right up our alley, too.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of really cool things on their website, but I'm especially intrigued with the podcast. I want to listen to that. So,
Joni, do you want to comment on how quickly the podcast is rising for OCC, just in the highlights?
Hey, this is Joni. Nice to meet you guys.
You
It's
too.
been awesome that you took the time. But the podcast actually started out as something that we were doing on the side, and in the last week and a half, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's climbed up to the top 100 podcasts, and with the number of podcasts that are out there, we're pretty excited about that. And if you
Yes.
listen to the podcast, you'll hear a lot of really untold stories, some of which may shock you and some not.
Yeah, like the one where Paul officially says in the podcast we needed to diss ditch Steven Tyler. Like that. That was so funny. Like, it's ridiculous how good the podcast is.
You
You got
really
to
put him
check
in
it
some
out.
stranger's car.
So God knows what it's going to do to me after the after party tonight.
You're about done, bro.
Beware of passing cars.
Well, I'm going to definitely subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah.
It sounds like a good time.
Jack, what?
That it is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a lot
good
of
way
fun.
to describe it. Is we have a lot of fun on that podcast, and you'll learn about the ladies of Vietnam. The ladies.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Jason just joked
Oh.
Our lady.
Well, she was nice.
She was nice. Right?
So that's the other lady.
She was nice.
Can we go back to the fact that it said ladies of Vietnam, plural? More than ammunition that was being...
Like, delivering ammunition to meet ladies.
Oh, my
Seriously,
God.
the podcast is a lot of fun. Again, Joan does it, and
Jason and Josh.
Jason and
John
Josh show.
Santos.
It's kind of like we go from work over here, and then we just go over there to
So
do
stories.
the podcast. And
It's kind of like
and have a good
therapy.
time.
It's a lot like therapy. You know, we just talk it out. You know, it's really good for us. We feel better afterwards.
Jason talks about his
Erect out
kids,
dysfunction.
kids, and yeah,
Jason talks about picking
We
favorite
love our
kids even
fun.
when you're not supposed to pick favorites. Right?
It is truly one of the most amazing dysfunctional families on the planet, hands down, and SHF is very honored to be the ugly cousin of the dysfunctional family now, for sure. So one thing that I wanted to touch on is that this is only the beginning. Next year, we'll be putting together the American History Movement Tour. The bike actually debuted at a VA medical center today, which was, an absolute honor to be able to be in partnership with the VA for positive media messaging. And we're super excited to take this thing around to 12 different cities. It involves celebrities, hopefully VAs, etc., and really be able to tell positive media messaging for veterans and community neighbors that we're not just broken or in war.
Nice. Well, Jax,
That's good.
we're coming up on time, and first, before I got one more question for you, Jackson. Before we get there, I want to thank the entire OCC crew for joining the call and being on the show with us and Jax today. So thank you.
Thank you
very
for
much.
having us.
We
Yeah.
really
Absolutely.
appreciate it,
Thank
and
you.
quite a surprise and a treat. So thank you, Jax. The show's called The Decision Hour, and the question that we ask all of our guests is: name a time in your life where your feet were on the line and you had to make that decision. It can be anything. And granted, we make decisions every day, but what was that one time in your life where you had to make that decision? What was it, and what was the atmosphere like for you at that time?
Honestly, there's been several. Everything from being homeless to suicide survivor to traumatic brain injury, etc. But the one decision, the best decision that I made was inviting the love of my life and my partner in #VeteransInLove, because she's an Army veteran as well, Linda Sullivan, into my life, because everything has changed and I have changed to be a better man because she's in my life. And I'm so glad that I made that decision.
That is awesome. Patty, you got anything else?
Just thank you all for your time, for your service, for those who have served, for your patriotism, for those who are supporting our military. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
you.
Folks, that's all the time that we have. Make sure you check out shfveterans.org, and also check out OCC website as well. They got some great bikes out there. Also, big shout out to Heroes Media Group, our parent network. If you're looking to get involved, simply go to www.heroesmediagroup.com. Until next time, for Patty, I'm Adam. You've been listening to The Decision Hour.